But I'm here, and I wasn't sure I wanted to tell the story, because it was kind of a personal family story, the black sheep stories, but I'm gonna go do it anyway, I'll drive it up here, why not? My cousin fell in love with a chicken. And I'm not talking about Kentucky Fried. I'm talking about Rosalita, a Rhode Island Red. Now, I have to tell you, as far as chickens go, she was kind of cute. She had these pretty red feathers, she was perky, but she was a chicken. Now, I don't know how you folks in Missouri feel about that, but in Oklahoma, that's considered a little weird. Unless you knew my cousin. You see, if you think of your family tree like a solid oak, good root system, a good solid trunk and branches out here. Well, to our family tree, someone had grafted a corkscrew willow. My cousin's mother had fallen in love with a rock. She was out driving a state or a national park one day, and she saw this big rock on the side of the road, and she fell in love with it. She said it reminded her of Ernie, her first husband. Flat top, turn around. So she got out. First she looked around and said, "They park rangers, the national parks, steal stuff like that." But there weren't any rangers, and that was before Elon Musk fired them all. And she got that rock into her car, and driving back home, she got thinking, I don't know how I got that big old rock in my car. It is so heavy. So she called the football coach back in her hometown. She dated him a couple times, and he called him up and she said, "Hey, coach, I need some help. Can you send me over a couple of interior linemen? I need to get Ernie out of my car and get carried in the house." Well, the coach said, "Well, I can send over George and Bubba as a guard and a tackle." He wanted to ask who Ernie was and why he needed carried. But she did. He found it was easier just to give her what she wanted and go away. So to get there, and George and Bubba, they get Ernie in the house, get the rock sitting there, buy her big old lazy boy recliner. That flat top was perfect for holding her coffee every morning, hot chocolate at night, watching television. They'd sit there and watch television together at night. Sometimes they'd watch the National Geographic stuff, hoping they'd find some of his relatives on it. Things go along for a while, so things started to get a little rocky. I almost left that line out because it's so bad. But when she wanted to clean, she couldn't move him, and he didn't help her with a lick. But he just sat there. He wouldn't even take the coffee cup into the kitchen. It started to remind her of her husband number 2. He wasn't worth much either. She did try to deduct him on her income tax. CPA guy said, "Nah, I don't think that's gonna fly." And then the rock started sloughing off. Sometimes rocks do that. So she applied to her insurance company for a medical thing, and that didn't work either. So she's really getting disgusted. And she finally gets George and Bubba back again, hauls him out to the back fence. He's still out there. He's out there. Leaves been falling, the algae's forming. He's not aging well. Is that reminder of husband number 3? So you can see my cousin really kind of came by kind of semi-honest just a little bit. But he really liked Rosalita, the chicken. He went down they had a local artist come in and had her portrait made, 16x20 oil. Got the best Walmart frame he could find to get it hanging there in the house. He just really liked it. He was hanging there and watching. She didn't seem to care much, but it was there. And then he decided, I'm going to do something special for my Rosalita. And he went down to the local jewelry store and he said, "Can I get a friendship ring for my Rosalita?" And they said, "Well, wonderful. We'd love to do that. What size ring does she wear?" And he said, "Well, she doesn't have fingers. She does have 2 feet and 4 toes, And so they were a little puzzled about that. It had been a really slow month in the hill had been. So they said, bring her up, can she come into the store? And she said, well, I got her caged up out in the car right now. You know, like their attention also. And they were really kind of relieved when he brought in the cat carrier with Rosalita. She got out there on the cabinet, you know, on the thing there. And they weren't sure what to do. They couldn't get anything over those 4 toes and 2 feet. But they found, you know, sometimes chickens have that little spur sticking out. So they said, you know, we think we can put a silver band on that. And they did. And he just was so proud of that. He thought that looked great. Rosalita could care less. But it didn't matter because my cousin thought it was great. So they go back home and things are going well for some time. And then he went in the backyard one day. She had a nice backyard. Well fenced, tall fence. In fact, he was glad about the tall fence because the neighbor had chickens next door and there was a rooster over there and he was really glad about that tall fence. So he quit worrying about that. But she was gone. He went back out there and he looked under every hiding place and he couldn't find her. He went out into the streets. Rosalita, where are you? Where are you? And he started knocking on the door. All the neighbors, of course, knew all about Rosalita. He had told everybody about Rosalita. And he looked, and this went on for several days. And then several weeks. He took that poster, that portrait, and he had not wanted, but missing posters made, packed them all over town. Have you seen my Rosalita? Could not find her anywhere. The neighbors started worrying about it, even though he was a little weird. They liked him. He was a likable kind of guy. And they finally came to him and they said, look, we know that you're really depressed about losing your Rosalita or not being able to find her. We'd like to give you a dinner. Because you know the lady right across the street, 3 houses down, she's won the county cooking contest 3 years in a row for her secret sauce recipe. And my cousin said to her, I understand you folks are trying to be nice to me. Yes, I'll come do that. I'll do that. So he goes over to their house on that Thursday night, they set aside. Laid out nice table, all the comfort foods, you know, the mashed potatoes, seasoned just right. Even the green beans were seasoned, which is almost impossible to do, as you well know. All kinds of stuff. They put my cousin right there, kind of on one side, kind of in the middle, and everybody sat around. And right in the middle of the table in front of my cousin, they had the big open space pot for the main dish. And this cook, she liked the dramatic type. She was like one of those storytellers who really has to be dramatic, like me, right? She comes up in the kitchen carrying a big old platter, and it smells so good. That secret sauce, oh, it smells so good. He set the sauce right down there in front of my cousin in an open spot. A big heaping platter of baked chicken. There was silence. And then the guy across the table, he reached for the tongs and he got to pick up a chicken leg, put on his plate and break the silence. And when he did, well, this kind of silver round thing, it kind of rolled out over in front of my cousin. Silence continued for a while, followed by weeping. And then there was a sound that they later could not describe. Someone called 911. Shortly, help came, temporary facility. A few days later, they were able to find a longer term facility. Do you have any idea how hard it is to find a facility that is all vegetarian? That promises never to cook chicken.